I've been sitting here thinking, hi, I'm Doessel. I've been sitting here thinking about how to make this video. I've got a problem. The problem is that this morning I sent out an email to alert people of the fact that they need a will. And I tried to do it in a way that explained how important it was to have a will, and the fact that I've spoken to my lawyers, my paralegals, and we've come up with a way to do it at a fraction of the price we'd normally charge, because there's so many people out there right now that don't have a will. Hopefully you're not one of them. And to me, it's really important to have your will up to date. I mean, I went through cancer. My first time I did a bloody will properly was sitting on the side of the hospital bed about to go into surgery for having a cancer removed. And I did it as a video will on my mobile phone in 2009. And since then, of course, I've had my will updated, and it's now currently sitting in our will safe. But if I was to cark it, right, all the work I've done for the last 10 years building my CRA lawyers and Armstrong, Doessel, Stevenson lawyers and legal practice holdings and everything else I've put my heart and soul into, it's all wasted. Because if I don't have a will, I die intestate. And that means that Helen, my wife, doesn't get everything automatically. It means the public trustee gets it and they can distribute it as they see fit. And that would mean that 99.9% chance that my law firms would crumble, because in my will it says, you know, who's going to take over and who's going to do stuff and everything else. Without that, there's nobody to take over. Without that, the public trustee gets to decide what happens. So instead of Helen getting everything, it would all be probably just sold up by the public trustee. So I've got 3 kids, and geez, I've even got a granddaughter now. I know, 25 I know, but my granddaughter Charlotte, she's 4, and you know, we work our butts off to build a business that can do something good for our families, and without a will, you don't have a say. So in this package that I put together, it's got a will, a standard will. It's got an enduring power of attorney, so that if you lose capacity to make decisions, then you've already decided who can make those decisions for you. It's got an advanced health directive, so you can decide whether or not you want life support turned off, whether you want do not resuscitate, etc., etc. You make those decisions in advance, so it's your choice and your wishes are known. Just Wade, one of our new guys, Wade, great young fella. He's a business development manager we got brought on to help build the credit repair side of the business and go and see mortgage brokers and stuff. Wade said he's got his will done, but his will is currently kept, well, I'm going to fix it this afternoon, his will is currently kept in his filing cabinet at home. And I said, well, what if you die in a house fire? Your will's gone too. Oh yeah, maybe the lawyers have got a copy. Yeah, but who would know that? So one of the things we do is we also give you 3 fridge magnets specifically designed that say that Graham Doessel's will is held securely in secure storage at Armstrong, Doessel, Stevenson lawyers. So that goes on your fridge. It goes on, well, you give a copy to your mum, your dad, your brother, your sister. So you've got 3, so you can spread those out, so that if anything ever happens to you, someone knows where your will is. So for me, this stuff's really personal. And I got an email this morning saying I was being opportunistic. Shit, if I was opportunistic, I wouldn't have cut the price by bloody 3/4. I would have just charged full price and made it a really emotive thing and said, here, pay me now, make me plenty of money. But Christ, we're not even making the hourly rate doing these wills. We're doing about 5 or 6 hours worth of work for less than the price that Patrick charges for 1 hour's work. So I can't say I was offended, because that's not fair. The way I wrote the email mustn't have been very good, because to look opportunistic is definitely not what I intended to do. So this has not been rehearsed. This is just straight off the cuff. Look, whether you do it with us or anybody else, get your bloody will done. This coronavirus thing, no one knows where it's going to go. The health.gov.au, it's the only place you should go for your information, by the way. They were saying a couple of days ago that the global death rate is, I think, 3.47%. Now, that takes into account third world countries, old people, young people, everything else. But you imagine, as an absolute worst case scenario, that if every human being in Australia got the coronavirus, and it's rounded up to 4% roughly, just for simple maths, that 25 million people, as a rough guess, got coronavirus, and 4% of them carked it, still leaves 24 million people that didn't cark it, right? But if you're one of those unfortunate ones that do, you got to make sure your shit's together. You got to make sure your will is done, because what happens to your family? What happens to your family home? What happens to your car? What happens to your bank account? What happens to your superannuation? That's the other thing we're doing too. This is no extra charge. Is, did you know that if you haven't specifically notified your beneficiary in the last, your super fund in the last 2 years who the beneficiaries are, the super trustee can get to make the decision. So you need to do a binding nomination to make sure that your super death benefit goes to whom you choose, rather than it just be decided by somebody else. And talk to your financial advisor, talk to your lawyer about whether or not that death benefit should go to your estate to potentially avoid taxes as well, rather than just goes to somebody else. So there's a lot of things to take into consideration, and just get your bloody will done. It's so important. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling on now, but just wanted to publish this so that at least I got it out there. And if this makes it worse, if this still makes me look opportunistic, then shit, I'm opportunistic in trying to help people get their crap together, because I don't want my family to be, well, obviously I've done my will already, but I wouldn't want my family to lose out because I was too lazy to get up and ask and get my will done.